Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer with RealTime Fantasy Sports, and welcome to another edition of the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. On today's show, I'm going to do something a little different. We normally do start, sits, and sleepers today on Thursdays, but I'm just going to do 5 of my favorite plays for this week because a lot of teams, a lot of fantasy leagues are finished. Some of you are still going, so this will help you there. But if you want to play DFS or a great pick'em contest as well here at RealTime Fantasy Sports, you can use these 5 favorite plays in those games. Or if you're still playing fantasy football, you can use it there as well. So I'm just going to give you 5 of my favorite plays for this week, and I'm going to give you those guys right now. My first one is Cam Akers with the Los Angeles Rams. Really took some time for Akers to get going, but he's finally producing for fantasy teams. He is really about a must start, in my opinion, right now. Akers has 2 straight 100-yard games, double-digit fantasy points, 5 straight games. He's getting it done on a weekly basis. I expect more of the same this week against the Seahawks. Seattle allows the second most fantasy points of running backs on the season. My next favorite play this week is Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers is not having near this fantasy season as owners have hoped, but he has been pretty good at times this year. He's top 20 fantasy points 2 times. He had multiple scores last week, and he threw for a season high 291 yards against the team he's playing this week. That's the Detroit Lions. He did that in week 9. Detroit's been awful against the pass this year. I think Rodgers is going to come up big with a playoff spot on the line for Green Bay Packers this week. The Lions allow the most fantasy points to quarterbacks. I'm looking for Rodgers to have a big showing in week 18. My next favorite play is Zay Jones with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, another team in a must-win game, and Jones has been a little cool of late. He has fewer than 6 fantasy points each of his last 2 games, but the good news is he has 9 targets those games, so he's getting the looks, just not quite on the same page. Been to some tough matchups as well. He had 20-plus fantasy points 2 straight games for those last 2 games. I think he'll get it going again this week against Tennessee. Another team really been bad against the pass this year. Jones had 8 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown against the Titans in week 14, and he had 12 targets in that game as well. Tennessee, one of the worst teams against the pass all year, allow the second most fantasy points to receivers. My next favorite play for this week is Noah Fant for the Seattle Seahawks, the tight end with the Seahawks. He's really been a bigger factor down the stretch here. He has scores 2 of the last 3 games and 3 of 5. He's become a top red zone target in this offense. I think he's a good streaming play this week against a Rams team that struggled to stop the tight end at times this year. And Fant scored a touchdown against the Rams in week 13. My last favorite play for this week is Arizona Cardinals receiver Greg Dortch. Dortch has really been getting a lot of looks lately. He has double-digit targets 3 straight games. He has 19 plus fantasy points 2 of those games. He should get a workout again this week in a game the Cardinals are likely playing from behind against the 49ers. Plus, the 49ers have struggled a little bit against stopping the fantasy receiver this year. They allow the 5th most fantasy points to receivers. I think Dortch gets a lot of looks, produces well again in this matchup. All right, those are my 5 favorite plays for week 18 of the fantasy football season. If you're still playing this week, I wish you a lot of luck and have a lot of success in this championship week. If you're not playing, want to play DFS or a pick'em contest, I wish you a lot of luck there as well. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day, everyone.